A suspect is on the run after a deadly shooting inside a Washington church.
Plus, parents are getting bigger stimulus checks depending on how many kids are in the family. But what about foster parents? Hear the concern coming from local families.
And make sure to ground the umbrella today, tracking some rain and shower chances around the area. I'll have more details in that Thursday forecast. It's coming up.
From Camp KVUE Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, Northwest, and happy Thursday, everyone. Almost made it to Friday, and Kristen Neal almost made it to spring.
Yes, spring officially arrives this Saturday. Of course, it's been feeling a whole lot like spring, beautiful weather, but today we're going to have some changes around the area. Let's get you started first with that live look downtown Yakima. Pretty quiet start for you. One thing we are noticing early this morning, some of the cloud cover working in from the south. So we will have more cloud cover out there for today. It is a dry start, but the second half of the day, that'll be our best chance to really see some of these rain showers getting going. And that is with that cold front that'll slide through the Pacific Northwest. You can see a lot of the activity right now moving through the Portland area this morning, and eventually that front will be pushing through for the second half of the day today. But temperatures were just above freezing in the Tri-Cities, 41, Walla Walla mid-30s there in Hermiston, and then right at that freezing mark for Yakima. So as you break down your Thursday forecast, still mainly dry by lunchtime, but a higher rain chance this afternoon. It's a very mild day as well, close to that 70-degree mark. So how long will these rain showers last? What will that weekend look like? Your full forecast, it's coming up.
Thank you, Kristen. A manhunt is underway after a man gunned another man down at a church in Seattle. Police say the suspect walked into the church yesterday afternoon during a service. A man in the church approached him. The two had a discussion, and then the suspect pulled out a gun and opened fire. The victim was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. So far, there isn't much that's known about the suspect.
As we further this investigation, we don't know how much information will come out, if it was a targeted or if it was random, or those are information that we'll, continue to, flush out.
About 40 people were inside the church during the shooting. The church is located in Seattle's Rainier Valley neighborhood. Police believe they have identified a possible suspect and are searching for him. In Kitsap County, the community is mourning the loss of 3 teenage girls killed in a car crash. The crash happened at Bainbridge Island on Tuesday. Q13 reports the vehicle they were driving in went off the road, struck several trees, and rolled over. The 3 girls, identified by police as Bainbridge High School students, died at the scene. Police say speeding was a likely factor. All 3 of the young girls were between the ages of 14 to 16.
We're tracking another workplace coronavirus outbreak, this one at a Walmart in Western Washington. The Walmart Supercenter in Covington is closed for extra cleaning yesterday after at least 24 employees reported testing positive. Health officials say they don't have any reports so far of customers getting sick, and they haven't seen any sign that the store broke coronavirus safety regulations, but health officials are recommending a ventilation check and more testing for employees moving forward. More than a dozen states are reporting a rise in coronavirus cases. 14 states reported double-digit increases in cases this week compared to last week. Half of those states saw the number of cases jump by more than 20%, and in Michigan, cases rose by 50%. Nationwide, the number of new cases continues to decline, but that was slowed down a lot since earlier this year. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention projects 554,000 to 574,000 could die from the virus by April 10th. That's down slightly from an earlier forecast, which projected up to 571,000 deaths by April 3rd. The Biden administration is sending out $10 billion to help increase COVID-19 testing at schools. Washington Senator Patty Murray just announced that $230 million of that is coming straight to Washington. Several local schools have already started offering optional testing for people who either have symptoms or were exposed to someone who tested positive. The goal is to help track down cases before they become an outbreak, especially since the vaccine isn't approved for anyone under 16. As thousands of Americans have received their 3rd stimulus payment, dozens of families with children haven't. Jessica Miller in Hermiston says it's become a huge problem for foster and kinship guardians. If a biological parent had a child throughout 2020, they can legally claim them on their taxes. But if the child went into care January 2021, that parent would still get stimulus money instead of the family that has custody. A foster parent herself, Miller says these families can use all the support they can get.
These are our next generation. We need them to be okay. We need them to be safe. We need them to be loved. We need them to be in the best situation that they can.
We've reached out to the Oregon DHS to see if there's anything that can be done, but we haven't heard back yet. And check this out, a new online tool designed by Washington State University to forecast temperature changes is now available for farmers. The frost forecasting program is designed to support fruit farmers throughout central Washington. The forecasts are available every day for farmers to understand if they need to protect their crops from cold temperatures.
Each farmer knows specifically what temperature does what to their crop. And so they can look at our data and our forecasts and say, okay, I need to take preventative measures.
WSU has equipment collecting data throughout the region to make forecasts available for the farmers. The website shows the forecast in different areas throughout central Washington. Applets and Kotlets candies, iconic Pacific Northwest treats that have been made and enjoyed for a century, won't be around much longer unless a buyer comes along. The Kashmir-based Washington family-owned makers say they will close operations by June 2021 after more than 100 years in business. Liberty Orchards Company is continuing to look for a buyer for the assets, including the brands, production equipment, factory, and warehouse buildings.
5:06, let's take a quick break here on Good Morning Northwest. But before we do, let's take that live look outside.
And we are starting off this Thursday pretty quiet, but we're looking at some rain chances to build in later today. More details on when it's expected to arrive and that forecast that's coming up.
Plus, we'll hear from Gonzaga's head coach on what life is like inside the NCAA tournament bubble.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. The Gonzaga Bulldogs are officially in the bubble, and head coach Mark Few said they are keeping occupied ahead of Saturday's game. The Gonzaga men's basketball team arrived in Indianapolis earlier this week and could remain there through the entirety of the tournament. The Zags are familiar with testing and travel protocols on the road trips. The team was semi-isolated in Spokane during the season. They also stayed in a Spokane hotel for several days before and after the West Coast Conference tournament in Las Vegas. Head coach Mark Few spoke to the media yesterday about life inside the Indianapolis bubble.
We're trying to really have an attitude of gratitude, no matter what our individual goals are, our team goals, and even, our frustrations with lack of, what the NCAA tournament's normally like. I think missing out on it last year has given us a great perspective.
Beyond practices, Few said the team will be engaging in bonding activities, something he said they focus on throughout the year. He also said he looks forward to having people in the stands and acknowledged the Zags' loyal fans who have helped motivate the team despite not being able to watch them in person this year. You can check out our continuing coverage of the Bulldogs NCAA tournament run starting tonight. Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, outrage is growing as the Atlanta spa murders highlight a rise in violence against Asian Americans in cities across the U.S.
Police in Georgia are investigating deadly shootings at massage parlors around Atlanta. The suspected shooter is in custody. 8 people lost their lives before police caught up with him. Investigators believe he was headed to Florida to make similar attacks. 6 of the women who were killed were Asian. The suspect told investigators the attacks were prompted by his sexual addiction. The Asian American community is dealing with fear as hate crimes are on the rise.
I think there's an enormous amount of fear and anxiety, particularly in that this crime that was not necessarily committed based on race, at least based on what we know so far, but that it was 6 Asian American women who were shot and killed yesterday in light of the broader context where we've seen a spike in discrimination, hate, and violence against Asian Americans across this country.
The suspect, Robert Aaron Long, is being held in Cherokee County on 8 counts of murder. And yesterday, Governor Inslee sent out this statement calling the Atlanta killings another escalation in the disturbing trend. Inslee said these shootings reflect hate against Asians, against women, and against immigrants, adding that we all have a responsibility to denounce hate. San Francisco's police chief has increased patrols in predominantly Asian neighborhoods after a series of attacks on Asian Americans. The latest incident happened yesterday and involved 2 elderly people as the chief of police was tweeting about the alarming spike in attacks with the hashtag #StopAsianHate. Police say a 75-year-old woman and an 83-year-old man, both Asian, were assaulted. The seniors were punched by a homeless man on Market Street. He was arrested.
We have to investigate these cases with all resources brought to bear, and we need to make arrests, which we've done that. The Asian American Pacific Islander community needs to know that we stand with them. We support them. This is horrific.
Here in San Francisco, we have seen a rise in hate crimes against our elderly Asian community, and I want to make it clear that we won't tolerate it.
Other major cities have seen an increase in Asian American directed hate crimes as well. San Francisco's mayor called Atlanta's mayor yesterday to express condolences for the murder of 8 people on Tuesday. 4 hurricane names will no longer be used. The Hurricane Committee says Dorian, Laura, Ada, and Iota are getting retired from the rotating list of names used for Atlantic storms. Officials say the decision was based on the death and destruction caused by those hurricanes. Dorian and Laura will be replaced with Dexter and Leah, respectively. The committee also added that Greek alphabet-based names won't be used again due to the confusion they caused to people threatened by the hurricanes. More than 90 hurricane names from the Atlantic Basin have been retired since 1953.
Now, KapKView First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Kristen Walls.
And the next hurricane season doesn't officially start until June. And we are a couple of days away locally, everywhere, until spring starts, essentially on Saturday, very early in the morning here locally at 2:37 a.m. So we're looking forward to at least some warmer temperatures ahead for us. Speaking of warmer temperatures, today it's going to be one of the warmest days here out of the next week or so. Close to that 70-degree mark, but we will have some rain chances building in as well for the second half of the day. Sunrise today at 7:03, sunset at 7:07. And as we take a look ahead to your rush hour forecast, drive to work, it will be dry. Temperatures a little bit chilly, though, at 39 degrees, but we will have some showers developing later on this evening. Again, those temperatures today in the upper 60s, close to that 70-degree mark. And we're starting off this morning. Clouds are building in from the south. Again, locally, still a dry start, but that next system just off the coast. We will be watching this frontal system moving in for the second half of the day today. Some of our winds increasing and a few heavy downpours. A thunderstorm chance can't be ruled out for today. So let's get you over to Futurecast and time this next system out. There's a look at lunchtime today, maybe a slight chance for a stray shower. Most of the activity, though, arriving this afternoon. There's a look at 5 o'clock. Again, some of those heavier downpours can't be ruled out. And most of the activity will be through early tonight before drying out for that morning commute on Friday. By Friday afternoon, maybe a stray shower or 2 expected. And then even as we head into Saturday, partly sunny, maybe a slight chance for a stray shower there early as well. But there's going to be a lot of dry time as we start off this first official day of spring. Now let's get you over to some of our wind speeds out the door this morning. Fairly light around the area, the exception over into Dayton. You're starting off near 16 miles per hour. But as we switch over to Futurecast, might turn a little bit breezy, especially here along the foothills of the Blues. Out ahead of this front, some of your wind gusts today up to 30 miles per hour. Everybody looking at some breezy conditions Friday, some of your gusts up to 25, and then still staying breezy on Saturday. Wind gusts Saturday could be as high as about 30 miles per hour. Now, as we get you over to your forecast for this afternoon, we should see numbers climbing up into the 30s this morning. But as we switch over to our highs for today, we're going to be up to 63 in Yakima, mid-60s there in Toppenish, close to 70 degrees in the Tri-Cities and Hermiston, with 66 degrees in Prosser, and then those upper 60s as well for Walla Walla and Pendleton. Now, overnight tonight, those showers early. Again, it's going to be breezy, a bit breezy for tonight. Some of the gusts up to 25, 43 Tri-Cities, and then down to about 35 in Yakima. So there's your 7-day forecast. I think the majority of the weekend, we're looking at a lot of dry time, partly sunny, maybe a shower very early, but up to 57 Sunday. By Monday, we'll have another small shower chance and breezy and a high of 58. And then your 7-day forecast for Yakima. Also still looking at breezy conditions tomorrow. Slight chance for a stray afternoon shower, and then turning partly sunny over the weekend with 55 on Sunday. We'll be right back with much more after the break.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Air travel continues to soar. Despite warnings from health officials, more people are taking to the skies to get where they're going. The Transportation Security Administration has screened more than 1 million people at airports for 6 straight days. That's a streak not even seen during the peak holiday season. More than 7.5 million people have passed through U.S. airports since Thursday. But the bigger numbers are still only about half of what travel figures were before the COVID-19 pandemic. Airlines say passengers aren't booking months in advance right now. Instead, they're watching infection trends and only planning travel a few weeks out. And Honda is temporarily shutting down production at most of its North American plants next week due to a lack of semiconductors. There's currently a global shortage in chips that is impacting tech companies like Samsung and car manufacturers. That's because the average vehicle has 50 to 150 microchips in it. Volkswagen says it lost 100,000 cars so far this year, and officials there don't see the shortage letting up anytime soon. Difficulties at U.S. semiconductor plants and an earthquake in Japan have contributed to the shortage.
At 5:25, Tinder is joining forces with Everly Well to hand out 1,000 COVID-19 test home collection kits. The goal is to send these kits to 500 Tinder members who can check the COVID status for themselves and a match. This way, the couple can check to see if they're infected with the virus before meeting in person on a potential date. As of last October, more than 40% of Tinder members 30 years or younger say they couldn't see a crush in person, largely because of the pandemic. The tests will be handed out on a first-come, first-served basis starting on Saturday and will begin shipping out on Monday. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, another mass vaccination site in eastern Washington has opened up just in time as hundreds of thousands of people become eligible to get their shots. We're talking about the sudden surge.
Plus, Amazon is making the jump into healthcare and expanding telehealth services nationwide. We'll tell you when that's rolling out. Good Morning Northwest continues right now.
From Camp KVUE Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning, Northwest, and thanks for starting your Thursday with us. Kristen, just a couple days from spring, and I got a sneak peek of your forecast, almost 70s.
Yes, it is going to be a very warm day. We have a cold front, though, that will bring us some changes later in the day today. But ahead of that front, we are looking at some very mild temperatures. Let's get you over to the forecast today out the door this morning. This is from Richland's Columbia Point. Pretty quiet for your morning commute. So no worries there as you get ready to hit the road, but take the umbrella with you today as we will see those changes mainly later on this afternoon. So we have some clouds building in this morning. That cold front is off the coast and you can see some of those rain showers around Portland this morning. It's that system that'll bring us maybe some of those heavier downpours and some breezy conditions for parts of the area as well. We're starting off at 32 right now in the Tri-Cities. Connell, you're at 36. Close to 40 right now for Walla Walla, and then now down to about 31 over in Yakima. So as you take a look ahead to your Thursday forecast, we'll still be partly sunny, maybe a stray shower at lunchtime, but a higher rain chance this afternoon. Again, numbers close to 70 degrees. So will these rain showers hang on as we head into the upcoming weekend? I'll have your full forecast. It's coming up.
Hundreds of thousands of essential workers in Washington state became eligible to get the coronavirus vaccine yesterday. In addition to everyone already approved, like teachers and people over 65, health officials say Yakima County will see major increase in demand for the vaccine because almost 2/3 of its workforce are considered essential. That may make it harder for people to get an appointment.
Thankfully, the drive-through community vaccination clinic opened today in Yakima, so that will serve as an additional resource to help vaccinate the individuals.
The mass vaccination site at Yakima State Fair Park is offering just 500 vaccines this week, but they'll eventually be able to administer 500 per day. And officials at the Benton County Fairgrounds mass vaccination site say they still have doses available for today and Friday. They gave out more than 1,500 shots just yesterday. They'll be open 9 until 2 today and 9 to 5 on Friday. Even if you're in the group that can sign up for the vaccine, though, don't count on getting your shots this week. The state estimates around 740,000 people became eligible yesterday, but Washington State only got around 302,000 doses this week, which means some essential workers might be waiting in line for a while. Yet one former school principal who now volunteers to help people lock down appointments says it could all come down to how fast you can click.
We anticipate that the traffic will be quite heavy and that the competition will be fierce. It's the survival of the fastest. Who can type the quickest? Who knows the little shortcuts?
Bonnie McGuire knows the shortcuts. She volunteers with a group that will go online and help book a vaccine slot for anyone who might be struggling with the technology. McGuire says sometimes their entire team, nearly a dozen people, will work together to get just one person's appointment confirmed. Governor Jay Inslee toured Wenatchee's mass vaccination site yesterday and expressed his appreciation for local leaders and volunteers. He also visited the Chelan Fruit Company after his trip to the Town Toyota Center. Chelan Fruit is one of the first fruit packing companies in the state to start vaccinating agricultural workers. Inslee said more vaccines are promised by the federal government.
Most of those pending stimulus checks that showed up in bank accounts this week should be fully available now. The IRS says it has already sent out almost 90 million direct deposits and around 150,000 paper checks. But there are still a lot more to go. The IRS says it's sending direct deposits to as many people as possible, but if they don't have your bank information, they'll send a check or a debit card in the mail. You don't have to do anything other than wait. If you want to check on the status of your stimulus, you can use the Get My Payment tool on irs.gov. You're getting a little more time to file your taxes this year. The IRS started tax season late on February 12th. Now the IRS says it will delay the deadline to May 17th. The IRS was struggling already to keep up with tax returns, and then the coronavirus relief bill changed the rules about how unemployment benefits are taxed. That makes things even more complicated and could mean a lot more people have to file amendments to their tax returns. So far, the IRS says if you finished your 2020 taxes already, don't make changes just yet. We could get more information tomorrow when the IRS commissioner is set to answer questions from House lawmakers. FEMA is going to be reimbursing families of coronavirus victims for funeral expenses. The agency posted a message on its website about the assistance effort. According to the posting, FEMA has $2 billion for reimbursements. The funds are for individuals and households for COVID-19 related funeral expenses incurred between January 20th and December 31st of last year. FEMA says it will set up a funeral assistance program and work with various groups to help out with outreach to communities and families. The agency encourages those who have COVID-19 funeral expenses to gather and keep documentation. Amazon is making its rush into providing health care services. The tech giant announced that it will be offering its Amazon Care telemedicine program to employers nationwide. Amazon Care is an app currently available only to its employees in Washington state. The app connects users virtually with doctors and nurses who can provide services and treatment over the phone 24 hours a day. In the Seattle area, it's supplemented with in-person services like pharmacy delivery and house call services from nurses who can take blood work and provide similar services. Now, Amazon says it will expand the service to interested private employers across the nation by summer. Dictionary.com has added 600 new words. 2 of those words are supposedly and finna. The site defines finna as a contraction of fixing to, meaning getting ready to do something. Dictionary.com defines supposedly as may be assumed, imagined, or supposed. According to Merriam-Webster.com, supposedly is often used when the speaker intends to use supposedly, which usually means allegedly. Monica, what are your thoughts on that?
I used supposedly multiple times over the years, and I have been called out for it. So now I don't have to worry about it.
And I've heard finna a bunch, and so it just makes sense.
You know, they took the word gullible out of the dictionary?
I did not know that.
Gotcha.
Learn something new every
gotcha.
year.
See?
What?
Gullible.
Oh.
There you go. All right. That's your joke for the day. Let's take a quick break here at Good Morning Northwest. But before we do, let's take that live look outside.
Hey, we're looking at a pretty quiet start this morning, but we will have some rain chances building in later today. More details on when it's expected to arrive in that forecast next.
Welcome back, everyone. The Biden administration is considering sending some COVID vaccine doses to Canada and Mexico. There are tens of millions of AstraZeneca doses stockpiled and waiting for official approval for use in the U.S., but AstraZeneca's vaccine has been approved for use in both Canada and Mexico. The company itself has asked the Biden administration to consider requests to donate inventory to other nations. If this agreement comes together, it would be the first time the U.S. has shared vaccines directly with another country. The U.S. is now ahead of almost every other country in the world when it comes to vaccinations. President Biden said last week that by May 1st, all adults in the U.S. will be able to receive vaccines. 21 states are suing the Biden administration over the Keystone XL pipeline. The lawsuit claims the president didn't have the authority to revoke a permit for the pipeline. Biden did that through executive action on his first day in office as part of his promise to combat climate change. The planned pipeline would carry oil from the Canadian tar sands into the U.S. The oil industry and Republican leaders slammed Biden's move, saying it would cost thousands of jobs. But climate and energy experts said the pipeline would be at odds with U.S. energy needs given the existing oil supply. The House of Representatives voted in favor of renewing the Violence Against Women Act, which had expired. The bill calls for grant funding and support aimed towards preventing and combating issues such as sexual assault and domestic violence, and expands services available to assault victims and survivors. President Joe Biden is a supporter of the reauthorization. Republican senators have said the GOP is working on their own version of the bill. Russia is denying it interfered in the 2020 election, despite a U.S. intelligence report concluding it did. The Kremlin says it had nothing to do with any information campaigns against any candidate, but the U.S. intelligence report released Tuesday said some countries, including Russia, attempted to undermine public confidence in the election process. The Kremlin called those claims baseless, unsubstantiated, and incorrect. The Biden administration is considering further sanctions against Russia, China, and Iran because of the alleged election interference. Russia says it's considering retaliatory measures.
We're going to see some spring-like weather with some rain showers moving in. Today, we will see an unsettled weather pattern around the Pacific Northwest. A cold front will bring us the chance locally of some rain showers. Snow levels will drop. So later tonight into the day on Friday, we could see some snow levels between 2,000 to 3,000 feet back through the Cascades. So as we get you out the door this morning, it is a dry start. We'll have a little bit of some sun as the sun comes up this morning, close to 40 degrees, but then those rain showers developing. So just a heads up as you're heading home from work, you may be dodging some of those rain showers, close to 70 degrees as well later on this afternoon. The clouds are moving in, again, still dry here locally. As we zoom out, you can see that cold front. This is the front that's going to bring us some of those changes for today. Looking at some scattered rain showers around the Portland area very early this morning. So with Futurecast, again, we'll be dry for that morning commute, but we could see a slight chance for a stray shower or two to pop up around lunchtime. A higher rain chance by later on this afternoon. Even a few heavy downpours can't be ruled out. That'll continue through early tonight before going back to some drier conditions for your Friday. At least out the door, we will have some more sunshine. By the afternoon, we'll have just a slight chance for maybe a stray shower to pop up, but a lot of dry time for your Friday. Saturday morning, we'll have a lingering rain shower early in the morning, but overall, the majority of the weekend, looking at that mixture of some sunshine and clouds. Again, spring officially arriving there on Saturday. Let's talk winds, though. Our winds will be picking up as well. The majority of the area right now looking at some very calm winds. I think especially today along the foothills of the Blues, that's where we're looking at those winds for you, 20 to 25 miles per hour. Everybody will see those winds picking up, especially tonight into the day on Friday, with some of your wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour, and then a breezy day even on Saturday with those wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. Temperatures out the door, we are chilly. We're down to right at that freezing mark in the Tri-Cities, close to 40 in Walla Walla with 33 in Prosser, and then Yakima this morning at 31. But as we take you throughout your afternoon, it will be a fairly mild day at 65 in Toppenish, 58 in Ellensburg, 63 today in Yakima, close to 70 in the Tri-Cities with 65 in Connell, 66 degrees there in Prosser, 64 for Dayton, and then some upper 60s for Walla Walla and Pendleton. So overnight tonight, we will have that shower chance still very early, but it's going to be a breezy night, down to about 35 in Yakima, 43 in the Tri-Cities, and then 44 for Walla Walla. So there's your 7-day forecast. As we look ahead into the weekend, a lot of dry times expected, but some cooler temperatures down to about 57 there on Sunday. Another rain chance on Monday with a high of 58. And then your 7-day forecast for Yakima, you're also looking at a partly sunny sky over the weekend with 57 on Saturday, 55 by Sunday.
Thank you, Kristen. 6:20. We're going to take a quick break here on Good Morning Northwest, but coming up, an iconic Pacific Northwest candy company could be closing for good after more than 100 years in business. Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Applets and Cotlets candies, iconic Pacific Northwest treats that have been made for a century, won't be around much longer unless a buyer comes along. The Kashmere, Washington makers say they will close operations by June after more than 100 years in business. Family-owned Liberty Orchards Company is continuing to look for a buyer for assets, including the brands, production equipment, factory, and warehouse buildings. A local food truck is celebrating 10 years of business in the Tri-Cities. Felix and Jenny Sanchez are the proud owners of El Fat Cat Grill in Kennewick. They spent the past decade serving up Mexican fusion dishes to customers. And when the pandemic hit, they say they were blown away by all the messages they got asking if they needed help.
Like when we sit back and sometimes when we think like, oh, do we want to continue this, because we are getting older. That's what keeps us going, honestly. Like when we see our customers and we're laughing with them, to see the love that we have gotten back, you sit back and you're like, this is what I was supposed to do.
El Fat Cat Grill is located on North Edison Street off Clearwater. They're open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. or until they're sold out. Definitely something that makes you smile. Now, let's take a look at something else to have us smile today.
Yes, I want to show you this cutie pie early this morning, all snuggled up, kind of modeling is what Catherine says.
Yeah, he's modeling his little vest there. How cute is he?
Oh my goodness. This is Rigby, making us certainly smile this morning. So thank you to Catherine for submitting this photo. If you have one that you would love to share and for us to show here on Good Morning Northwest, head over to yaktrinnews.com. We have our Reason to Smile or Photos of the Day section at the very top.
In sports news, an NFL quarterback is being sued for an alleged sexual assault. Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans is accused of inappropriate actions toward a licensed massage therapist. According to a lawsuit filed in Harris County Tuesday, Watson touched the unnamed woman inappropriately. Watson denies the claim. He also tweeted a statement that says he, quote, never treated any woman with anything other than the utmost respect. The lawsuit says the therapist felt uncomfortable and brought the session to an end, and that Watson later apologized to her in a text for the alleged incident. In Seahawks news, after a modest start to NFL free agency, Seattle is finally making some moves. Yesterday, the Seahawks signed tight end Gerald Everett to a multi-year deal and traded for offensive guard Gabe Jackson. Both moves by the front office show a commitment to improving star quarterbacks Russell Wilson's protection and weapons. Plus, it doesn't hurt that Everett signed away from a division rival in the Los Angeles Rams. And this brings us to our poll question of the day. How would you rate the Seahawks offseason moves so far? Not impressed, or do you think it's looking good? Vote now at yaktrinnews.com/vote and on our KapKVU app, and we'll have those results at the end of the show. On to college basketball. Fans are getting ready for the big tournament. Fill out your NCAA bracket with KapKVU, yaktrinnews.com for a chance to win a Wild Horse Resort and Casino Family Fun Pack. That includes a $50 bowling voucher at Quaking Aspen's Lanes, a $30 food voucher, and a $20 arcade voucher at the Wild Horse Family Funplex. It's right there on the front page of yaktrinnews.com. You can go to our page, and it's on Facebook as well. Best of luck to you.